Hey folks, Dr. Gerstmar from Inspire Natural Health. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you happen to be listening to this, I hope you're having a fantastic day. So I wanted to share with you my experience. So we've got a new piece of software I'm trying to get set up and running for our company, for helping people, streamlining things in the business, making it better. And one of the promises, you go and you look up, one of the promises they say about software, so easy, takes 10 minutes to set up. Oh my gosh, a 4-year-old could do it. I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but one of the things they said was just how incredibly easy it was to set up. It takes no time at all. It's not hard. And of course, hey, guess what happens? It's basically going to take me the entire week, so multiple hours spread across multiple days here to actually get it set up. Because you look and the very, very basics are pretty straightforward, but then you've got to get it to connect to this, and you've got to make sure you have this setting. And oh, if you don't have that, you've got to set that up. And so what on the surface looks like a very easy thing to do, and they're promising is an easy thing to do for you, in reality ends up being a lot more complicated than we think it's going to be and that we want it to be. How does this relate to our health journey? Well, look, bottom line, a thing I always use, or a rule of thumb I keep in mind in all aspects of my life personally, is whatever I'm thinking of doing, I get an estimate. Your brain makes an estimate of how long do I think it's going to take me to do this thing, and how much money is it going to take me to do this thing, whether it's, improving some aspect of my health, or a new routine, or reading a book, or, building a deck, or whatever it's going to be. How long is it going to take me to do this, and how much am I going to have to invest to get it done? And inevitably, I've found a good rule of thumb is to, at a minimum, 2 to 3x whatever my estimates are. If I think it's going to take me a week to get something done, I better set aside in my planning a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks to get that same thing done. And if I think, whatever, it costs $100 to do this thing, I better at a minimum set aside $200 to $300 to do it. Because human beings, myself definitely included, and you as well, human beings overall are lousy at estimating what something is going to take. And we see this often in terms of what people think, the time frame that people think it's going to take to resolve health issues and get healthy. Now, of course, we all want to feel better yesterday. Like, the faster this thing could go away, the better. And this is one of the reasons we're so attracted to silver bullets, like a quick miracle cure. Can I just go in and get an infusion, or take a pill, or do something super fast, super easy, and bam, my problems are gone? The reality is no, right? We know this. We don't want it to be this way. I don't want it to be this way, but we know the reality is that there are not silver bullets for situations. Think of anything meaningful in your life, your relationships, your career, anything that's meaningful in your life, substantial. Was that thing accomplished quickly, easily, overnight? Boom. You wanted to start in a career, bam, you're CEO, right? In a real meaningful way. You wanted to learn how to play guitar, bam, you're an expert at it. Did that happen? Of course it didn't, right? Anything substantial is going to take way more time, way more energy, and often a lot more money than we would like it to take. Now, when we refuse to acknowledge that, we set ourselves up for failure. Because look, what happens with most of us when we buy something? So, we're talking about a software system. What happens for most of us? Well, a lot of us buy it and then don't even log in, don't even open it up, don't even open the box, right? A stunning number of books, for example, that are bought never even get opened. They just come in and sit on a desk or a bookshelf or a pile on the floor. They never even get opened. And then what's the next phase? So for the people who do open the book or open the software, the vast majority of people never get beyond chapter 1 of the book, or the first couple of steps of the software. Why? Because it inevitably turns out to be a lot more effort than we would like. So the question we have to ask ourselves is ultimately this thing I'm exploring, whether it's a piece of software like it is for me, whether it's your health journey, is it something that is worth the investment of more time, energy, and money than you think is going to be involved with that? You know, before we started screening people that came to Aspire Natural Health, before we started screening them, making sure that what their goals were, what they wanted to do, were really a good match for what we were trying to provide for people, we would have a lot of people come to see us, or a decent number of people come to see us who were dabbling. You know, they had digestive issues or autoimmunity, and they were thinking about maybe I want to explore a more holistic approach, or maybe I just want to see what's out there, what options were available. These are people who weren't ready to really invest the time, the money, the energy that really was needed to deal with their digestive issues or autoimmunity. And that is okay. We're not always ready, willing, and able to make the investment to do the thing that we're thinking about. Sometimes we're just thinking about it. But I think it's important to recognize when we're just thinking about it and when we're actually serious, we're ready to do it. You know, we buy a lot of books. Let's take that as an example. Is that something, you know, and I've brought this into my own life. There are a million books I would love to read. I wish I could live to be, 1,000 years old and live in a library so that I could read all of the books I want to read. Long ago, I recognized that actually wasn't the case. And over the years, I've slowly, still definitely a work in progress, have realized that there are books that sound interesting, and then there are books that I find are interesting enough to actually invest the time to read. I'm by no means perfect on that, but recognizing that there are a lot of books in years and decades past that I bought because it sounded interesting, but in reality, I knew I wasn't going to invest the time. I wish there was a way just to automatically download it into our brain. There's silver bullet thinking again for all of us, right? Can't I just download this information directly into my brain so I can just know everything? Well, maybe someday that'll happen, right? But not now. So bottom line, I got this software. I knew it was going to be an investment, but of course I was seduced, right, by the, hey, it's super fast, super easy. Of course I start getting into it and realize, it is nowhere near as fast and as easy as they promise. Not blaming them. They seem like a good company. The soft seemed like a good piece of software, but as always, it's going to take more time and more effort and more money than I would like to get this thing set up. So the question we have to ask ourselves, whether it's in health or other areas of our life, does this sound interesting, or is this something I'm really committed to doing? If it sounds interesting, we need to check our natural inclination to just buy something or leap into something, because it's probably going to end up another one of those books that sounded interesting that we bought and we just stuck on a shelf, and it's going to cause us to waste time, waste money, and waste energy that would be better invested elsewhere. Look, the bottom line is this. If you're dealing with digestive issues and autoimmunity, the reality is it is going to take a significant amount of time if you want to do more than just slap a Band-Aid on top of it. If you're interested in getting to the root causes of what's going on, most people are going to take a minimum of 6 to 12 months to make substantial long-term progress on that digestive issue or autoimmunity. If we think that in a week or a month, we're going to lick this thing and it's going to be gone, and 1 or 2 visits with a doctor or healthcare practitioner is all that's going to be needed to take care of this, it's just not the case. Almost never is that silver bullet approach going to work for someone. In fact, I have never seen it work for someone before. So it's just important to keep in mind that at a minimum, when we're looking at approaching a project, when we're looking at approaching our health, whatever idea we have in mind, often 2x, 3x, sometimes 10x is going to be more realistic than what we initially have in mind, because we are terrible estimators. And look, if you estimate 6, 12, 18 months to get better, and you're one of the exceptional rare people where 3, 4, 5 months later, 6, 8 months later, you're doing fantastic. Everything is resolved. You've gotten deep into root causes and you're doing fantastic. Awesome. It's always great for something to cost less, take less time, and take less energy than we estimated. But I think it is important to set our expectations correctly, or otherwise we end up frustrated, we end up angry about the situation. You know, I could be frustrated and angry that this software is taking a lot more time and energy, a lot more money than I anticipated to get set up. But I recognize pretty quickly, oh, this is going to take more than I thought. And the goal, the reason I'm doing it is sufficient that I'm going to persevere through it. And by the end of the week, finally going to have that software set up. Not 10 minutes, a week, but you have to ask, is it worth it? And in this case, the answer is yes. And when your health, I hope the answer for you is yes, it is worth the investment of time, money, and energy that it costs me to improve my health. Because on the other end of it, not only do you have your symptoms under control, but you're living that bigger and better life that you want. Listen, talking about living a bigger and better life, if all of this talk, if the idea of making an investment in your health taking longer than we want it to take, but the time that it really requires it to take, if working on your health is not just something that sounds interesting, but you are ready to make that change, then I invite you, reach out to us, give us a call, send us an email, or drop us a message. Let us know that you're interested in taking the next steps forward. What we do from that point is we have a simple conversation. We find out more about you, your goals, what you're looking for, what the situation is. If we are a great match, then we'll talk about next steps and we'll get going to help transform your life. If we're not a good match, that is okay. We recognize that we are not for everyone. It's not the approach that everyone wants, needs, or is ready to take. That is okay. We will do our best to recommend someone else who is a better match for you. So you have absolutely nothing to lose. You walk away from our conversation feeling calm, confident, happy because you will know what the best next step for you is. Again, all you need to do, give us a call, send us an email, or drop us a message, and let's chat. Let's see if we are the right people to help transform your life. All right, folks, that is it for me today. Until next time, take care.